Yeah.
What are you gonna do today?
I have to edit this video, and I haven't decided if I wanted to make royal icing and start my cookies, my decorative ones, and or
When are you gonna deliver those?
I haven't decided that yet. I need to soon because people already seen my Facebook. They're like,
Where's the cookies?
I'm waiting for my cookies. I wish Movavi had more sound effects. Aw, thanks. Should have got that on camera. Okay, so what is on the agenda for today? That is the question. I still have 5 different cookies that I want to make. The best chocolate chip cookies. I actually tried these for Thanksgiving and they were pretty good, but they needed more chocolate chips. Butter pecan cookies, never made these. These look good and they have 5 stars. Homemade Nutter Butter cookies, what? It also has 5 stars and I've never made a Nutter Butter. Raspberry thumbprint cookies with a lemon glaze. Oh my god, yum. My husband would love those. And then the last one is a DIY Milano cookie. Very Christmassy, so I want to give these a try. I also have 4 different truffles. The Biscoff truffle, the pecan pie truffle, almond joy truffle, and pumpkin spice truffles. All of these are no bake. They are, all they really need is to be chilled before you dip them into chocolate. And all of them except for the pecan pie truffles require cream cheese. So this is going to be roughly easy. So I think this is going to be my choice for today. Before I get started, I just wanted to give you guys all a sneak peek and a preview of all of these beautiful truffles that I just made. But this video is not going to be in chronological order. By the time that I was finished making all of these truffles, it was very late and I didn't have time to dip them. But I really didn't want you guys to have to wait to see the dipping process tomorrow. So I decided to put them all in their each individual container and I stored them in the refrigerator overnight. Now I did put them in the freezer because I did have intention of dipping them. I just ran out of time. So I let them sit in the refrigerator overnight and I dipped them the next morning, which is today, and I am going to be including a clip of me dipping them after each truffle that I make, just so that you guys can get an idea of what it's like. But just keep in mind that this is a long process, and if you're making more than one truffle, just be patient because it could take you a couple of days to complete everything. I know that this is not how Vlogmas works, but I just felt like it was fair so that you guys could see it all in one video. I got all of these recipes on Pinterest, so if you want the recipes to print out for your own, I will link them down below. This is pretty much all of the ingredients you're going to need for all 4 of these recipes, minus a couple of other ingredients that are still in the refrigerator because they're dairy. I didn't want to pull them out too quickly. I'm hoping that I can get this done in a reasonable time. Let's start with the pumpkin spice truffles because this one takes the longest to freeze. Okay, so I'm going to line a large cookie sheet with some pre-cut parchment paper, and I think this one's going to require 2 of them. These ones I got from the Dollar Tree. They're more shiny than they are matte, so keep that in mind if that's important to you. The Reynolds ones I believe are matte, but I think this is going to work fine. Okay, so it says that you need an entire package of golden Oreos, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin spice, 1/8 ounces of cream cheese. So I'm going to put all of these Oreos inside of the food processor and we're going to pulse them until they're medium fine crumbs. Or about 36 Oreos it says. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. It still looks a bit chunky, but I think it'll process a little bit more once we add the cream cheese in there, so I think this is going to be okay. And now it says to add in your entire block of cream cheese. This is 8 ounces, and I am using the real brand. And 1 teaspoon of pumpkin spice. And it says to continue pulsing until it's fully combined. Did you catch that? Okay, I think that, yeah, that looks good. I want to taste it though. I mean, it's good, but I don't taste the pumpkin spice a whole lot. I feel like it could have used a little bit more. Yeah, I don't taste the pumpkin spice in that at all. Every part of me wants to add some pumpkin puree into this, but I'm not going to because it doesn't say to, and I don't want to change the texture of it. But I am going to add a little bit more pumpkin spice to it because I just feel like you can't taste it. I still don't taste it, but either way, it's still really good. I'm just going to use a mini ice cream scooper. So I'm going to make sure not to have a dome. It's just going to be a leveled spoonful. And then I'm just going to pop them down onto the parchment paper just like that. It says it makes about 35 truffles, so we'll see how much we get here. So if you think about it, that's kind of like the equivalent of an Oreo per scoop. The texture on this is still kind of crispy. You could still get like a crunch from the Oreos. But I think over time, they're going to soften and they will become very truffle-like. It's just they need time to set. But even if they don't, the crunchiness of the Oreos is fine with me. Okay, so I got about 37 truffles out of this batch. Now it's off to the freezer it goes. I'm going to let you know right now that these were by far the hardest ones to dip because the truffle is so sticky and so soft. You cannot just simply dip them into the chocolate. They will practically melt and fall apart. Also didn't like how lumpy they were. They didn't have a smooth round finish to them, so when you dip them you could see all of the crevices and the bottoms were just not completely covered. So I ended up rolling them back up and putting them in the freezer to get a little bit more stiff, and then when I brought them back out I stamped the bottoms so that they had a little bit of a foot and it'd be a lot easier for me to hold it on the spoon while I topped it with the chocolate instead. And I just kind of feel like this helped the process and I was able to get them done a lot faster. We're definitely far from perfect, but I did get the job done. After they were finished, I took a big sigh of relief and I realized that even if they didn't look that great, I could make them look a little bit better. They kind of looked a little plain and some of the chocolate looked uneven and kind of lumpy, so I was like, okay, what should I do? So I just grabbed some orange candy melts. I know it's not very festive or Christmassy, but it kind of has like that pumpkin look to it. It is a pumpkin spice truffle. Feeling a little bit more happy with how they're turning out and they're starting to look a little bit more presentable. I decided to take some little stars and just top them off with them, just a little bit extra to jazz them up. And this is the finished product. I think that they look pretty good. I sat them in these cute little mini foil cupcake liners. For the Biscoff truffle cookie balls, we need 2 8-ounce packages of Biscoff cookies and 1 block of 8-ounce cream cheese, and that's it. So all we're gonna do is line 2 trays with parchment paper. It says place the Biscoff cookies in a food processor or a high-speed blender and pulse into fine crumbs. Set aside a half a cup for topping. Oh, we're supposed to beat the cream cheese. I'm not going to do that because I don't have a hand mixer. So instead, I am just going to use my potato masher, and I am going to do the same way that I do when I cream butter and sugar together. I just use a potato masher. So instead, I am just going to put this cream cheese in this bowl. And I am going to be using a potato masher to beat it, basically. I think I'm going to put this cream cheese in the microwave for about 10 seconds just so it gets a little bit more soft. It is fully room temperature, but I just want it to be a tiny bit more soft so it's easier to work with. And then now I'm just using a spatula just to mix it through. That made it so much easier for me to cream. Yeah, that looks good. I was trying to prove that you didn't need a food processor to crush these cookies, but later on you're going to find out why it's just so much easier to use your food processor, and we ran into a couple of problems, but you'll find out why later. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm just going to add this directly into the cream cheese. If you had a handheld hand mixer, you would use a hand mixer to do this, but I don't have one. I'm guessing you could also probably do this in a food processor as well. I may just do that. I may just throw it into my food processor because doing this by hand seems like it's going to take a long time. After I just put in that one package of cookies, it looked like it was just so dry, like as if it didn't have enough cream cheese. And I still needed to put in the second package of cookies. So then that's when I decided that I was gonna have to use my food processor to help me with this because doing it by hand was just too hard. It's okay, I'll clean it later. So this is supposed to make about 30 balls, and it does say to use a 1-inch scooper. And this one is a little bit more sturdy than the last one. So these ones we can actually roll into balls in our hand. Only made 24 cookie balls, and I only needed the one tray after all. In my opinion, I believe that these could have had a little bit more cream cheese. So I would say use either a block and a half or 2 blocks, and I think that it would stretch it out a little bit more so you get a little bit more balls. And I kind of feel like the texture of them wouldn't be as dry because they look like they're just a tiny bit dry. But I did taste the dough itself, and the dough does taste good. In fact, as dry as they are, I personally believe that they don't even need to be frozen or like stuck in the freezer. I personally think that you can leave them on the counter and just cover them and let them set on their own, and I think they'll be perfectly fine for dipping. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to put them in the freezer. I'm just going to set them aside and put some foil over them so that they can set at room temperature.
Underneath the mistletoe, Santa whispered in my ear, get on the party train. You've been so good this year, and every girl and boy must have some fun. Next stop is Christmas. Oh yeah, the holidays begun. Feeling full of Christmas song, snow upon the railroad track, and get up and make some noise, 'cause there's no turning back. It's the beginning of a whole new year. Next stop is Christmas. Oh yeah, the holidays are here. Hey, oh, the Christmas train is free. There's room inside for everybody. Everybody. Underneath the mistletoe, Santa whispered in my ear, get on the party train. You've been so good this year.
I cannot wait to taste these because coconut is one of my favorite candies. I love all kinds, macaroons, all of them. I love anything that has coconut in them. When I was little, Almond Joy was my favorite and Mounds was my mom's favorite. But what I really loved about the Almond Joy was the little almond that's in it. So for these ones, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Instead of using milk chocolate, I'm going to coat them in dark chocolate because I prefer the taste of dark chocolate. It requires 8 ounces of cream cheese, a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 7.5 cups of confectionery sugar, so 1 full bag, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract, plus 12 ounces of sweetened shredded coconut. Well, I'm just going to use 7 ounces. I mean, this only serves 2 dozen candies or truffles. Oh, well, we're just going to roll with it. And then you need 48 almonds, whole. I got lightly salted. And for this one, we're going to be using my standing mixer. In the bowl of a standing mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, combine the cream cheese, the butter, and the coconut oil. Beat on medium speed, scraping down the sides and bottom of the bowl as needed until well combined. Okay, now it says to reduce the mixture speed to low and gradually add in the confectionery sugar, about a cup at a time. But I'm just gonna pour it straight from the bag and just eyeball it. Okay, so now it says after all the confectionery sugar has been added, increase the speed to medium and add the salt, vanilla, and almond extract and continue to beat until evenly combined. Wow, this is starting to look like the texture of buttercream. Ooh, that tastes good. That is like a buttercream. You could use this to ice cookies with. Okay, now it says to add in all of your coconut. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like almond joy already in here. I have a feeling this is going to make more than 24 servings. Oh, it's a little sweet. That's like really, really sweet. It probably could have used a little bit more salt. Another little like tiny handful. And this is just fine sea salt. I think that'll tone down that sweetness a little bit. Much better. Still a little bit sweet, but I'm just going to leave it at that. My guess is that it could have used less powdered sugar. I'd probably go with 5 cups instead of an entire bag. Okay, I have a parchment paper lined cookie sheet here. It does say that it makes 2 dozen, but it does require 48 almonds. So that's 4 dozen, isn't it? Yeah, that's 4 dozen. We'll see how much we make here. This seems like it's going to make quite a bit. Okay, so it says to actually place the entire bowl into the refrigerator for exactly 1 hour, and then you pull it out, and then you roll them into one tablespoon balls, and then you put them back into the freezer to let them chill for 1 hour. But I'm not going to do that. I kind of feel like this mixture is very sturdy. It's even more sturdy than the pumpkin spice truffles we made. So I'm just going to scoop them right onto the parchment paper and then put them in the freezer for a couple of hours. And if I need to ball them up later, I will. But honestly, I kind of like the look of the rustic scoop. This way it's also a lot faster than hand rolling so many of them. See, that works out perfect. I'm just going to do this. Okay, so we already have 1 full tray here, and this is 24 servings. I'm just tucking in any stray coconut pieces just so that they're kind of easier to dip. These are going to be really easy to roll, so if you do want to roll them out, you could do that now. You don't even have to wait for them to be chilled. I still have that much left inside there. That's probably enough for another 18 to 24 servings. I'm just going to top them all off with 1 almond right now, and then I'm going to stick them in the freezer. How pretty! That looks so cool. And I'm hoping that the saltiness from the almond is also going to tone down some of that sweetness. But other than that, these are going to taste delicious. Okay, it says to cover them, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to throw them in the freezer just like this. But don't they look so pretty?
Oh my gosh, it's so delicious.
I definitely gotta label these because if I don't, I might mistake it for buttercream. I'd say you get at least a dozen out of there, if not a few more. And I'm gonna label this with a dry erase marker. And off to the freezer it goes. See you on another day. These would have been so much easier had I had a little bit more of a thought process with this one. I think the idea was on the right track, but the execution was wrong. So I dipped the bottoms first and then I went over the top with the chocolate. I just felt like it'd be a lot easier than dipping them. But my mistake is that I dipped the bottoms first. What I should have done is just dip the tops first and then dip the bottoms afterwards. So I did have a hard time getting them off the rack. In fact, a lot of the bottom pieces came off and I had to actually double dip them. Well, that just goes to show you that not everything turns out exactly the way you planned, so you always have to have a backup plan in case something goes wrong, and at the end of the day, they all got done and I feel satisfied. No one will ever know. To make anything with it, but I don't. Okay, we got one more truffle to try, the pecan pie truffles. I don't know, they just sounded Christmassy, so I wanted to give them a try. It calls for 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs, which is about 8 sheets of graham crackers, 2 tablespoons of melted salted butter, 1 cup of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2½ cups of chopped pecans, plus 2 tablespoons for the topping. I have 1 package of 1.5 cups worth of chopped pecans, but I have a little bit left in another bag. It says to line a tray or a plate with parchment paper. This makes 35 servings. For this recipe, we're gonna need both the food processor and the standing mixer. I'm just gonna use a full pack. It only has 1 extra cracker in there. I don't see how it's gonna really make a big deal. And then you're just gonna pulse these until they're fine crumbs. I think I'm gonna stick my pecans in here, or pecans, however you want to say it, and chop them a little bit finer because I kind of feel like they're a little bit coarsely chopped. See, there's some big chunks in there, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna put this entire bag in here, and I'm gonna pulse those in with my graham crackers. Oh, it would also help if I put the blade in there. One, two, maybe a little more. Okay, so my butter is pretty soft. I don't know why it's not creaming very well. It's leaving like little chunks. So I'm just using the sides of my spatula to kind of like press those butter pieces in so that they combine better. Okay, that was an arm workout, but I got it as best as I could. So now I'm just gonna add my graham crackers and my pecans into the mixture, and I'm gonna mix on low until it's fully combined. Okay, so I did get a good taste of that, and it is very good, but it is slightly too sweet for me. I feel like I could use some salt in here, so I am gonna add some salt and just remix it because I feel like it's just too sweet. I do like that little crunch of the pecan in there. It says that it's slightly sticky, which is kind of true, but it's also very crumbly. I wonder if it had anything to do with me using an extra graham cracker, but I kind of have a feeling like that's not it. but we'll see how this goes. And the graham crackers are still very crunchy, but I think that after it sets, they'll soften up a little bit. Well, they're shaping the dough they're shaping pretty nicely, so maybe they will work out. Okay, this was supposed to make 35 servings. This only made 26. I suppose I could have made them a little bit smaller, but they look about the same size as the other ones. I mean, they are scooped with the same scooper. They do look a little bit bigger though, so it's up to you if you want to like make them a little bit smaller. These are pretty big portions. And that is a wrap, my friends. I have to admit, this was a pretty intense video to make. Very time consuming, very exhausting. My least favorite thing to do is chocolate dip anything, but I wanted to try something new this year because I always do Oreo cookie balls, I always do fudge, I always do peanut butter cups, and I just wanted to try something different. So I went with these truffles instead, and even though the process was very difficult, I am so glad that I tried them out because they all look so delicious. I think my two favorite ones are going to be the Almond Joy and these ones, the pecan pie ones. I don't know, I just think that they're going to taste the best. But I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. You guys are awesome. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the videos thus far if you've been keeping up with all of my videos. But yeah, I want to thank all of you guys for all of the support. We're almost done with Christmas. We're almost done with Vlogmas. Only a few more days to go. Let's do this. See you guys next time. Bye.